Hi guys, the Trump campaign were very successful in weaponizing ignorance, be it related to the economy, immigration, the law, and of course trade. Before the presidential election, Trump and his campaign claimed that they would do two things at the same time. They would drive up wages and drive down prices. Now, it may be possible to achieve these things, but not in the way that Donald Trump is approaching the economy. His Vice President JD Vance was asked about inflation and the economy, and it resulted in an absolute car crash of an interview. Have a listen.
Campaigned on lowering prices for consumers. We've seen all of these executive orders. Which one lowers prices?
We have done a lot, and there have been a number of executive orders that have caused already jobs to start coming back into our country, which is a core part of lowering prices. More capital investment, more job creation in our economy is one of the things that's going to drive down prices for all consumers, but also raise wages so that people can afford to buy the things that they need.
Okay, this is like listening to Liz frigging Truss. Okay, so he mentioned three things here. First of all, he mentioned executive orders, and these executive orders will result in lower prices. But you were asked, what executive orders? How can an executive order result in lower prices? Give us an example so we can look at it and see if there's a connection between that executive order and lower prices. Then he said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to increase wages and this is going to reduce prices. How the hell does that work? I'm not an expert. I'm an ignoramus when it comes to the economy, but at least I know that if people have less money in their pockets, they're less likely to go out and spend that money. Well, they can't because they don't have any money. And what's that going to do to the economy? Well, it's going to drive down prices because certain businesses will have to sell things off cheaper in order to get rid of it before closing down eventually in some cases. So I don't know how increasing wages is actually going to reduce prices. But once again, I'm not the expert here. Maybe JD Vance is.
If you look at our slate of executive orders, no, Margaret, prices are going to come down, but it's going to take a little bit of time, right? The president has been president for all of 5 days. I think that in those 5 days, he's accomplished more than Joe Biden did in 4 years. It's been an incredible breakneck pace of activity. We're going to work with Congress. We're, of course, going to have more executive orders, and we're going to try the way that you lower prices is that you encourage more capital investment into our.
So he thinks if you attract more investment, that will lower prices. How will it lower prices? So Donald Trump is approaching this by, for example, imposing tariffs, which are paid by the American consumer eventually, because American companies who want to import the goods have to pay the tariff, and then they're passing that tariff on to the consumer. So I don't know how that's going to lower prices. And let's say, for example, American companies decide, okay, we're actually going to produce the goods in America and not import them. Well, the standards are higher in the US, for example, when it comes to worker protections. Wages are higher in the US. So if wages are higher and the cost of production is higher in the US than just importing it, then how is that going to reduce prices? Like, he's talking here about increasing people's wages. So who's going to pay for those wage increases? At the same time as reducing prices. This, once again, maybe I'm not the economist. Maybe he's the economist, but maybe he should explain to the public how his president's executive orders are going to bring down prices and how increasing wages will bring down prices as well. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.